Hi, I'm Daniela Ramirez. I'm the author of Welcome Home, Esmerelda. I live in the beautiful state of New Mexico. I grew up as a military kid, which means that I moved around a lot, but I was mostly raised in Texas. In kindergarten, I entered my first writing contest, and I've dreamed of being an author ever since. Welcome Home, Esmerelda is a story about a young girl who's always lived far away from extended family because of her papa's job in the military, but for the first time, they're moving to her family's hometown. It takes place in San Antonio, Texas. It has a big, loving Mexican-American family. It has dance and music. It shows Esmerelda's wonderful relationship with her abuela. It has a fun big sister, little sister dynamic. Welcome Home, Esmerelda is about change. Like I said, Esmerelda is a military kid, so she's used to moving, but this move feels different for her. She's worried about living close to family. She's worried about where she's going to fit in. Unfortunately, in the story, we see Esmerelda kind of get lost in this emotional storm of all of the worries that she's having. Thankfully, later in the story, Esmerelda finally feels at home. She learns that home is not necessarily a place, but a feeling inside of her heart. And she gets there through her love of music, her connection to dance, the love of her family. I think this is a great book, not just for military kids, but for any kid dealing with change or transition. I love this question. So first of all, I believe that representation is so powerful. All kids deserve to see themselves and their experiences in books. When I was growing up, I never saw a military family like mine in a book. I never saw a Mexican-American family like mine in a book. I grew up as a military kid, but also I'm a military spouse. I'm raising my own military kids right now. My husband's in the Air Force. And I think that that is a hard experience to understand sometimes from the outside of what it's like to be a military family. On average, most military families move every 2 to 3 years, and that entails a lot of different things like leaving school, saying goodbye to friends, being the new kid again at another school. It also might mean that you're dealing with these things when you have a parent who's gone for an extended period of time. Maybe they're on a deployment or they're gone for a training. But no matter what, those things can be tough sometimes. Change is always constant for a military family. I wanted to say one more thing that's really special to me, and that's the friends that you make when you're a military family. Your friends really do become your family. For most people, we're raising our kids in the military away from extended family or loved ones, and we don't have that support. So we turn to our friends. Our friends become our family. They're the ones that we celebrate holidays with, that we turn to for support. And in my experience, that bond of having that time together, of relying on each other, is something really special. Military families deserve to be acknowledged and to be celebrated. And I am so thrilled that Welcome Home, Esmerelda gives us a small glimpse of what it's like to be a military family. In the book, there's a scene between Abuela and Esmerelda. And Abuela tells Esmerelda, remember, home is not always a place, home is a feeling in your heart. I wanted to write a story that explored the idea of home because for me, it's always been an interesting concept because I have moved a lot as a kid and even as an adult. In the book, Esmerelda learns that home is a feeling within herself, and she's able to understand that through music and the love of her family. I think that this is something that not only military kids can relate to, but any kid dealing with change. Even when I was doing the final edits on this book, I was dealing with big change in my life. I was preparing my family to move. When I wrote the author note, I was living in military lodging at the time. I've learned throughout my life that home is not necessarily a place, like Abuela says, that it's a feeling inside my heart that I just have to find. Yeah, I think we would get along. I wrote a lot of myself into Esmerelda. I also found inspiration from my own kids and other military kids that I know. There's a beautiful spread in the book of Esmeralda in her room, and there's so many details in this spread. You can see all the things that she loves. The illustrator Maribel did such an incredible job with the art. And when I look at this spread, I see all the similarities between us. We both love music, we both love learning about other cultures, we love art, of course we love Selena, and also we're both military kids, like I said. So yeah, I think if Esmeralda and I got the chance to hang out, that we would have a lot to talk about, a lot to laugh about. We probably would just end up dancing. I had the most fun writing the end, the dance scene. I wanted to create this beautiful moment of Esmeralda finally feeling like herself and celebrating that. And so I pulled some personal inspiration. I love the music of Selena. I have been a fan of Selena since I was a little girl, and I had my own poster of her on my bedroom wall, just like Esmeralda does in the book. Even to this day, when I listen to the music of Selena, it stirs something inside of me, joy and hope. And that's what I was trying to create in this moment for Esmeralda. In this moment in the book, Esmeralda hears the music and you can see it on her face. She starts to feel that joy. She starts to feel like herself, and she can't help herself. She gets up, she grabs her sister, she starts dancing, she follows the beat, she gets lost in the cumbia, and it's in that moment that Esmeralda feels like herself and she feels at home. She realizes that home was always inside of her all along, and she just had to find it again. I love that the book ends here because we get to celebrate Esmeralda and this wonderful journey that she's gone on, and she's celebrated by her family and music. It's a beautiful scene. So thanks for watching.